Hello, I am student 39013886 and this is my 6-minute video. In the pre-production stages of my multimedia project, I ensured that I knew how to use my camera in the manual mode. This included me changing the ISO, aperture, and shutter speed manually myself. Additionally, I changed a new feature on my camera which I had never tried before, which was the white balance. White balance, or color temperature, allowed me to change the hue of my project to any color I wanted. In this case, I chose blue. Additionally, I ensured that the software that I was using to film my project was downloaded and that I tested the settings correctly. These settings are similar to the DSLR camera, which was the ISO, color temperature, aperture, and shutter speed. Also uploaded within my portfolio, I ensured to conduct a location scouting. This allowed me to reference what my video could possibly look like in terms of location. In the production stages, I was taking my photos and videos that were going to be used in the post-production. As evident within the footage, I had to change my ISO and aperture to ensure that my subjects were well lit. For my video, it was important that I knew what settings that I was using for each shot and that it was kept consistent throughout the whole filming process so that extensive editing wouldn't be necessary in the post-production process. And as you can see by this clip, I was testing between artificial and natural lighting, which caused me to change my settings for my camera. The post-production process was definitely the most time-consuming part of my project. Since I was creating a social media campaign, it was important for me to have a recurring symbol for my audience to come back to. Therefore, most elements were created in Photoshop and later implemented into different parts of my project. Within my photo editing process, I used Adobe Lightroom, which is an industry standard software. I used a combination of basic adjustments and masking to illuminate my subject. In my social media post creations, it was important for me to get my formatting correct. This was so the connections between my posts was established and was flowing smoothly. Specifically, I used both Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Lightroom to create these posts. Techniques such as layering, drop shadows, and editing my elements using the basic color adjustments, I was able to achieve cohesive and well planned out posts. During this process, admittedly, I was a bit scared about my text to design ratio. Though, luckily I was mindful of this and made sure to leave some gaps where I could easily insert my text. This design process I found was relatively simple and calming. This was due to my experience and interest in graphic design, so honestly I had a great and fun time creating these posts. As you can see in this clip, I actually had to make a design modification. This step has also been recorded in my portfolio as a NESA breach. Since one of my videos was not appropriate and did not fit the NESA guidelines, I was in need to change the video. Thus, I needed to change the image that I was using to match. Additionally, another design modification was that I was in need of creating more posts and more highlights to create a cohesive campaign. Therefore, I made sure to create a post which went across my social media page and highlight covers which matched the themes of what I wanted to address. Though there were a few difficulties in trying to resize and match together my posts that went across my social media page, I was glad about how these turned out. Onto my social media video creations. For the 3 of my social media videos, they all followed the same format of a triple split screen with short cuts that matched the music beats. As you can see, there was much cutting, refining, and going back in trying to attempt to put in as much footage as I could into one 30-second clip. As you can see, my elements are evident also in the video. I imported these from Photoshop and put them into Premiere Pro, where I had to manually cut each individual message out and layer them so that they would appear on beat. Additionally, captions were added since I did not have any person speaking in my video. Finally, color grading was applied to the final video before being exported. The use of After Effects was evident in my project as I wanted to capture a motion graphic within my video. This was to engage audiences and keep them watching until the very end where my slogan would pop up. This process was not easy at all. As you can see in my layers, I had so many to work with, as well as trying to position them all correctly and time them at the same time. Though an extremely stressful process, it ended up giving such a nice effect. As you can see, much resizing was done to make sure that the motion graphic would fit directly into the design. For my longer YouTube advertisement, I actually managed to follow the same format which I had in my social media videos. The only real difference being the beginning of the video, where I applied motion graphics. Thankfully, this process wasn't as hard, as I didn't have to work with motion blur null objects or multiple objects having to be parent and linked to each other. Additionally, you can see here, elements were also incorporated towards the end to create an overwhelming effect. WHS was also considered, as you can see in the top left of the screen, as I made sure to stand up and stretch from time to time when working on my project. Overall, within my production process, I am satisfied with what I have produced.